now. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Final Tackle podcast. Roll the intro.
So whether you're on the cricket ground, Lang Park or the bush, you still gotta run, you still gotta tackle when the scrums have got the same push. You give it some, you give some more, and you really give your all. Playing rugby league football, it's the greatest game of all.
And now a quick message about our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Leeds RLFC Stickers. They are an England-based sticker company specialising in Leeds Rhinos Super League stickers. They are 100% quality guaranteed with regular new design releases. Head over to their Instagram, give them a follow and DM them for prices and much more. They have excellent prices. They also ship internationally. I go through them for all of my Leeds Rhinos stickers merch. We are also currently in talks of designing and releasing a Final Tackle exclusive design, so be sure to follow them and us on Instagram for updates on that. Their Instagram is LeedsRLFC_stickers. It will be linked in the description of this episode on YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, our Facebook, Instagram, and more. This episode is also sponsored by the Grange Hotel in Wyoming, New South Wales, Australia. They have quality food, $12 schnitties with almost any gravy that you can think of. I personally love the pepper gravy that they do on the schnitties for $12 there. They also show every single game of the NRL live on the big screen. So go over there, pour yourself a schooner of beer with your mates, order a snooty with your mates as well, and have a cracker of a time watching the footy on big screen at the Grange. Their Facebook will be linked in the description of this episode and on our Facebook bios and everything else for our social medias as well. This episode is in partnership with the Rugby League Away Day. It is an Instagram-based Salford City and Super League news outlet. They focus on the Super League Women's at the moment. For all of your Super League Women's and more news, head over to their Instagram. It is first founded in 2017 by a former Salford City under-19 academy player. Their Instagram is Rugby League Away Day.
Right, and we're back. And just one more quick shout-out. It's a massive shout-out to Danny McMaster, the creator of our theme song, The Greatest Game of All. He released that in the 1980s. And so, by all means, head over to his Instagram and Twitter for more of his comedy gold. They will be linked in the description of each website and social media that we upload this to. Now, we've got a very special guest in the house. He is the current Penrith Panthers coach, former New Zealand Warriors fullback and coach of that team, Ivan Cleary. Thank you for joining us here, mate.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
Yeah, no worries. So let's get stuck into it. Question one. You made your debut as a player for Manly in 1992. What was that like for you and the week leading up to it?
Yeah, so I was I'm a Manly junior, but I was an unlikely NRL player. I kind of grew up playing soccer most of my life, among other sports. So I think I actually probably participated in the last ever open trial for under 21s in the 1990 season.
Yep.
So I picked up, and so I played under 21s that year, and for 91 it was actually. So the following season I got an opportunity to play first grade. It was unbelievable. It was like something like out of this world, but something I never imagined. I was always a rugby league fan as a kid. I only played a bit at school, and before I knew it, I was playing first grade. And I think in that team there was like 7 internationals or something. So it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when it was put in the actual paper. Still remember to this day eating my breakfast one morning and saw my name in the paper in like the team list.
Yep.
And that's when the nerves hit, and it's just like, oh my God,
it's real now. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, so just an incredible dream come true. Something I'll never forget.
That's awesome. Speaking of your career, you played most of your career at the Roosters and Warriors. Which club did you feel the most at home at, out of those two?
Yeah, probably the Roosters.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Roosters when I was about 25, I think. So, in terms of maturity, and I was married at that point as well. So I think I was probably in the prime of my career, I guess. Also, just I just really enjoyed those 4 years. We had a good team.
Yes, you did.
Didn't quite, just felt the last hurdle a couple of times. So I made 2 preliminary finals, I think, made the semis every year, but just couldn't quite get there. But I had a great time, great bunch of blokes. I love the Warriors, but and had probably my main connection to the Warriors is probably more through coaching, although we made the grand final in my last year, so that was pretty special. But yeah, the Roosters always hold a special part in my heart.
Yeah, nice. Speaking of the Roosters and also the last year of your career, which was at the Warriors, you played your final game in the 2002 Grand Final, unfortunate loss to your former club being the Roosters. What was that like? Was it bittersweet? Was it negative? Or was it all just full-packed, jam-packed of positives minus the negative of losing?
Yeah, pretty much exactly how you've just sort of said it. It was disappointing to lose, but I actually thought, it was one of those experiences where you just felt, well, we were beaten by the better team.
Yep.
And I did have some feelings of happiness for my former club. I think that might have been the first premiership, like in, I don't know, like 30 years or something. So at that stage, so it was a pretty big, big kind of day in the history of the Roosters. I mean, they've obviously gone on to win a few more. The start of a very successful period for the club, but it's good to see a lot of people I really cared for really happy about that. And as I said, I felt they deserved it.
Yeah, nice. And speaking of your coaching career, the next few questions are geared around that. You started coaching 4 years after your retirement from playing, making your coaching debut for the Warriors from 2006 until 2011. Looking back, what is your proudest achievement of your time as coach of the Warriors?
So when probably the grand final of 2011, I'd say. I mean, we were in the 3 grades that day, so under 20s, the reserve grade, whatever it was called at that point, and also first grade, which for an overseas team to make all 3 grades in a grand final, pretty incredible effort, achievement.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah, so I think probably that day, yeah.
Nice. And obviously, talking more about your coaching career, you then headed to Penrith from 2012 till 2015, then headed to the Tigers for a few years, and then you returned back to the base of the mountain for this season and for however many more seasons you're contracted on for them. What was the deciding factor and reasons to head back to Penrith?
Yeah, I felt so when I came here in 2012, I didn't have much of a connection with the place, but I moved my family here. Originally from the Northern Beaches, as I said, then we were in New Zealand for 10 years. So we moved the family, so I had 4 kids at the time, and came out at Penrith. And then was here for 4 seasons. And then I just kind of felt like I had unfinished business when I was let go here. And then in the meantime, my son started playing. Nathan started playing first grade.
And now he's playing for the team that you coach.
Yeah, so we're still living in the area as well. So I used to go and watch, because Nathan was playing, I used to go and watch them pretty much every time I could. So so when I got the opportunity to coach them again, I felt a real connection. Didn't ever want to leave in the first place. Obviously, Nathan playing was another added incentive, but I had a real connection to the area because my kids are all growing up here. To me it was I really enjoyed the Tigers. I loved. I'll never forget the opportunity they gave me. I thought I'd like to think I helped the club, but when that opportunity came to come back here, it was just
you couldn't knock it back.
It was just a strong feeling that never changed, and I'm really glad I'm back here.
That's good. That's good to hear. And speaking of your first season back as coach of the Panthers, they had what seemed to be maybe I'd say an unfortunate season, just missing out on the top 8. What are your thoughts on Penrith's season performance, and what do you think needs work? They need to work on in order to improve for next season?
Yeah, so we had a season that's been overall disappointing. It's been a bit of a regeneration of the roster. We're a development club out here at Penrith, so there'll often be a bit of a cycle of young players coming through into the team. This year just happened to be we had quite a few come in this year. We had some big kind of decisions to make with our salary cap, to give it some sustainability moving forward. But having said all that, I really felt it's disappointing not to be in the finals because I believe, we should have been. So that's, as the head coach, I take responsibility for that. But I feel like it's a season that will be necessary in the long run, in terms of our journey. I felt, I feel we will, we'll improve a lot next year. And a lot of learnings happened this year. Absolutely. It's been a difficult year in many respects, but, one that's, as I said, it's going to be, we'll look back on and think it was a very necessary and a good chance to learn for our future.
Yes, if anything that you can take from the negative is that it's a learning of, okay, let's do these things differently, etc.
And a lot of that, like, as I said, like it was a transforming year at the club, starting, I guess, with Phil Gould leaving the club. He's been such an instrumental figure at this club, and in many respects he's done a lot of stuff on his own, or so it's a different. We're running the club's being run differently, and that's taken a bit of time to get used to, and in some respects we're still getting used to that. But I believe that the function of the club moving forward is in really good hands, and I think it's definitely blue skies ahead.
Wonderful to hear. And also touching on the season, do you have a grand final matchup prediction?
Oh, I can't go by the Storm and the Roosters. I think been the best two sides all season. And I think they probably deserve to be in the grand final. And having said that, if someone can knock them off, then they'll deserve it. So,
definitely,
I mean, and that can happen for sure. Anything can happen, certainly in those preliminary finals. But I think it's going to be those two sides, and who's going to win, or I'm not prepared to say that yet.
Yeah, we'll find out on the day. We did touch on your move to the Panthers and stuff, and talking about Nathan. What's it like being able to coach your son, not just in the sense of, if he was a junior, but the fact that you're coaching your son in a first grade team and all that? What's the bond like? Is it stronger than before you coached him in first grade, etc.?
So there'll be a lot of people out there listening who either coach their sons or daughters or whatever, and it happens everywhere in junior sport.
Mm-hmm.
Probably most junior teams actually are coached by maybe a dad or mum in there somewhere. So it's obviously a pretty normal thing to do, but not at NRL level. I only ever coached Nathan in soccer, I think, when he was 6, so we didn't have a lot of time together coaching, so I certainly wasn't one of I was too busy. Essentially, I was coaching NRL most of the time he was growing up, so it hasn't strengthened our bond. Our bond is really strong anyway, but nothing's changed there. After my first year doing it, I really enjoy it, but I think we'll be better for it too. There's a lot of pressures and this year, which I think even the fact that we coached together, there was a lot of scrutiny, and a lot of that was negative, unfortunately. I don't know really why, but
I don't know why either. I've always said that, I've always tried to see it as a sense of you both being obviously Cleary family. It's not a sense of favoritism or anything. It's a matter of, I may be wrong the way I'm interpreting it. I see it as you're the coach, he's the halfback, and he knows exactly what you want, as well as the rest of the team know exactly what you want, but he can word it in a way that he'll know how to word it to the players on the field during the game, sort of thing. You want something done on the field, he can get it. He can execute it a lot better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I mean, I just don't think you could ever get a stronger bond between a coach and a halfback.
Exactly.
So in that respect, I mean, obviously, I think that's the way he is and the way I am. There's certainly no dramas around. But favoritism or just any kind of that. But there was a bit, I think there was I don't know whether it was a bit of the Australian in people, but it was almost like some people, wanted us to fail. I don't know why, but anyway. we've had to kind of deal with that a bit. And I did feel the pressure that he was under more pressure because he was like I was under a fair bit of pressure. So I think he probably felt that more than other players. So that in that respect, that was difficult. But as I said, now we've done it for one season. I think that'll be easier to deal with, and we'll only be better for it. So all in all, I think it's a real positive. And I reckon some people might struggle with it, but the way our personalities and our relationship is, I think it's going to be a real positive moving forward.
That's good. That's very good to hear. A few lighter questions to finish it off before we do 6 quick-fire trivia questions. Who is the prankster at the Panthers at the moment?
I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know of any. It's not one of those clear-cut practical jokers. Yeah, I mean, you'd probably have to ask one of the players more than that. No one pranks me. Put it that way.
Fair enough. Well, who do you remember as the most memorable prankster of your time playing in the NRL?
Yeah, well, there's a guy called Nathan Wood who back in Rooster days, I think that played for the Tigers first, maybe South. I think he made the Tigers, and at the Roosters, a utility player. He was a madman, pretty much. He would break into people's houses and set traps up and scare people. He had, the Scream movies. He had one of those Scream masks and he dressed in black. And he did it to me one day, actually. We were playing the Warriors together, actually. And he broke into my house one night and he turned on a radio, which was in my bedroom. And so I went into the bedroom and I just thought maybe it had, gone off because it was the wrong alarm time had been set or something. Yeah. I went in there and he came out from behind the bed. It was dark. He came out making this noise with that Scream mask on. Scared the crap out of me. And what I didn't realise was Nathan, my son, who was at that stage was probably about 3 years old, I reckon. Oh. He was behind me and saw the whole thing. And he wouldn't leave outside. Slept with us for about the next week. He wouldn't go in his bedroom or anything.
Oh, far out.
That was a good one.
Oh, that's a pretty good prank. That's up there. What are your thoughts on Jimmy Maloney now that he's finished his tenure at the Panthers and he's off to Super League? What do you have to say about him as a player and a person?
Yeah, so I was first put on to Jimmy Maloney by an old Sydney Bears teammate of mine, a guy called Greg Florimo, Jimmy was playing reserve grade for the Bears, and so he told me about him. This probably would have been about early 2000, probably 2005, 2006 maybe, something like that, around about then. And then, so I just sort of kept an eye on him. He played for Parramatta, played reserve grade through there, and then at the Storm. And so we ended up signing him at the Warriors when I was coach.
Yes.
For the 2010 season. I think he played about 4 games at Melbourne, mainly when there was Origin players out.
Yeah.
Went on to, star for us, 210, played grand final 211, and then he ended up playing for the Roosters. Yeah, so he's had a glittering career. So I had him, he was very confident, sort of, he's similar to what he is now, actually, even when he was a rookie. Mm-hmm. Great fella, pushed the boundaries of just only doing enough in terms of training. He's sort of like the larrikin, giving penalties away, all that stuff. It's never changed. Missing tackles, all that stuff, but still managing to come up with clutch plays year in, year out. A real winner, incredibly competitive footy player. Mm-hmm. Tough, really tough. Great guy to have, in your team and around it. You couldn't have much better NRL career than Jimmy's had. Also starting reasonably late. I think he didn't really play first grade till he was like around 23 or something. So
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Late starter, but I was fortunate to have him at the start of his career and in the end. So
that's good.
Yeah, he'll be missed.
That's awesome, and we here at the Final Tackle wish him the best at Catlins Dragons next season. And we've got 2 more questions, I think. I'm just going to have a quick read through the questions, see which ones I haven't covered. No, that's actually about it. That's it. So now it's time for Try Time Trivia. Everyone knows what the deal is. Everyone who listens, it's 6 quick-fire NRL questions to represent a set of 6 tackles. And that's pretty much it. You ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Wonderful. Question 1. What seasons were the South Sydney Rabbitohs excluded from competing in the NRL?
That would have been about 2000,
Yep.
maybe? Yeah.
And one other season.
Oh, okay. Oh, it must have been 2001, was it?
Yes. Next question. Who scored the West Tigers' first try in the club's history?
Ooh, I should know that. It was John Scandalis.
Yes, it was. Next question. Who did Stephen Kearney replace as the head coach of the New Zealand Warriors?
Andrew McFadden.
Yes. Next question. In 1977, the Parramatta Eels played in the first ever drawn grand final against which other club?
St George.
Yes. I think we've got two more questions left. Which Manly Warringah Sea Eagles player made his State of Origin debut for New South Wales in 2017?
2017.
Yes.
I don't know. Was that Jake Trbojevic, maybe?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Okay.
And last question is, sorry, which team defeated the New Zealand Warriors in the 2016 Auckland Nines tournament?
2016.
Yes.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Penrith Sharks.
Did you just say sorry, Sharks? No, sorry.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh,
No, I
sorry.
didn't say that.
Sorry, okay, sorry. Sorry, it's not the Sharks. That's a hint.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember. Broncos?
No, it was Parramatta Eels, mate. But that's really good. You got 5 from 6.
No.
There's only 3 that I've interviewed that have got 6 from 6. So you're up there on the ladder. And I want
I only missed the 9s. Who cares about the 9s, right?
I want to thank you very much for joining us at the Final Tackle podcast. Is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners, whether it's advice or promoting something, etc.?
No, not really. I love anyone who really loves the game. I think there's a lot of criticism around our game and rugby league. Generally speaking, a lot of people, that all they want to talk about is bad things about the game and criticise things and people and whatnot. So I just find I love talking to guys like yourself just about footy in general and actually embracing the good stuff about footy, yeah.
Yeah, well, I try and always focus on positives of people's careers when it comes to interviewing former and current players. There are some that when I talk to them, they've been riddled by controversies, such as I've got Sandor Earl coming up next week. So
yeah,
and I've got John Hopewadi coming up next week.
Yeah.
So they're definitely going to gauge it to be positive towards them. I'm not going to negatively gear it about them. So I'm just going to have to obviously very carefully word the way I ask the questions for them. But yeah, I always try and make them positive things and positive interviews and try and make them as relaxed as possible. Anyway, I'm going to have to edit that little bit out. Thank you very much for joining us here, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, man. Good on you. Thank you.
Bye. Roll the outro.
Playing rugby league football, it's the great.